Good evening and welcome to the broadcast, 11th day of September 2023, a brand new week. We are glad that you've chosen EBN TV to inform you tonight. We've got quite a lot in store, but how about we get started with the day's top stories. 8 KDF soldiers injured in a suspected Al-Shabaab attack in Lamu following an IED blast. Bracing for El Nino. Weatherman predicts heavy rains from September to January 2024.
Na tumesema hakuna broker yeyote, hakuna broker anatakikana kuwa pale Nyayo House.
Zero tolerance on corruption. Government circulates strict service rules for all national administration offices. Well, hi there, I'm Cynthia Nanjala and our SMS line is 23993. You can also watch us live on Facebook and on YouTube on EBN TV. EBN Prime Edition begins right now. Unfortunately, we kick off on a sad note and to a developing story where 8 Kenya Defence Forces KDF soldiers on patrol were injured after their lorry ran over an improvised explosive device, IED, in Baure area of Lamu County. Confirming the incident, KDF, through a press statement, stated that the injured were later airlifted to Manda Base Hospital for medical care. A Kenyan Army technical vehicle was also destroyed during the Sunday evening incident. Police believe the bomb was set up by Al-Shabaab militants operating within the expansive Boni forest. No arrest has been made. The injured were evacuated to hospital, and this came a day after a similar incident left 2 construction workers with life-threatening injuries in Baragoni. The workers were Saturday seriously injured after the vehicle ran over a bomb set on the road. Police believe the terrorists behind the bomb were timing security vehicles that were to use the route. Well, that is quite sad, and it is a developing story that we continue to keep tabs on. Any information that develops, we shall be informing you about that as and when it happens. Now back to the capital city. The National Dialogue Committee received only 142 memorandums from the public on the 5 broader issues for talks between Kenya Kwanza and Azimio. The number of memorandums was disclosed on Monday when the 10-member team convened at the Bomas of Kenya after a week-long recess. Embu Governor Cecily Mbarire, who co-chaired the session alongside Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, said most of the submissions were from groups. The 8-member technical committee that is helping the committee will now have a week to go through the public views and prepare a harmonized document for the panel next week.
Of importance is to report that we have received the report on the submission of memoranda to the National Dialogue Committee, and as of the 10th of September, which was the deadline, the total number of memoranda that were received was as follows. Hand delivered to Parliament buildings, 29. Had delivered at Bomas of Kenya, 5. Via email, 121. None via the post. So a total of 155 submissions that we have received. Less what we call the double submissions, where you find they have submitted 2 copies, 13. So we have a total of 142 memoranda.
We have decided to have the next sitting of the committee. Had you mentioned that on Monday?
Yes.
The reason is simple. We don't want the country to get the feeling that we need to adjourn every time. As you can see, dealing with 142 memoranda is quite a task. And we, immediately after this, the technical committees will go into session and do as much as they can, so that by the time we meet on Monday, it will be heavy engagement. We're even asking.
Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki on Monday held a progress and evaluation meeting with senior Immigration State Department officers led by Principal Secretary of the Department, Professor Julius Bitok. The CS wants the public to come out and share their experiences on the registration of births and deaths of their loved ones after making an impromptu visit at Nyayo House. As of last week, the passport backlog stood at 58,000, with the Department of Immigration and Citizen Services processing approximately 5,000 passports daily. Now, if you're a Nairobi resident, this is something you should hear. The Nairobi County government has unveiled a preparedness plan for the El Nino rains predicted by the Kenya Meteorological Department. Kenya Met predicted that heavy rains will be experienced in many parts of Kenya from September 2023 to January 2024. In preparation for the rains, Nairobi County government has put in place a Marshall Plan to ensure the safety of city residents amid the heavy downpour. Victor Enzobeli reports.
Rains in Nairobi have always exposed the ugly side of the city's drainage system. The drainage systems within Nairobi are filled with illegally dumped garbage and stagnant water even without rain. Whenever rains pour, residents wade, slog, hop, skip, and jump to cross flooded streets while flash flood.
Dr. Lynette.
To address this issue, Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja has unveiled a plan in preparation for the El Nino. Nairobi has already hired 3,500 environment officers to help spruce the city, with Sakaja saying another 1,000 are said to be hired. However, more than 60,000 applicants had applied for the few slots.
Because of the process, we first had to make sure we have the budget. The budget was passed, and I want to thank the County Assembly, led here by Mheshimiwa Kiragu, for passing the budget. We will not do what was done before, where you're given work, you work, and you're not paid. You will be paid for the work that you do, and you will be paid on time. It means in our estates, in the sub-counties and the wards, there's a huge backlog of trash. Drainages are clogged. Niko na imani ya kwamba with concerted effort tutazifungua. Si tutazifungua? Tunaweza hiyo kazi? Tutafungua hizo mitaro zote siku zote. Na kama unajua kazi ya mkono, you see, even mimi nimevaa hivi na I've rolled up my sleeves, nitakuwa na nyinyi ndani ya hizo mitaro. I'll be there with you. I'll be there with you as we sweep. I'll be there with you as we do what the city needs. If you know you cannot do that physical work, leo tu ambia supervisor wako, hata ningoje hizi kazi zingine zinakuja, patia mtu mwingine nafasi. Because you have to get down and dirty. Mtaingia kwa mashimo, tutaingia kwa mitaro. Unajua kiongozi hapa alisema usifanye kwa wodi yako, kwa sababu kuna wengine kama Papa Shirandula, unatoka na suti asubuhi, hawataki watu wajue unafanya kazi ya, unakuja unavaa gwanda, unapiga kazi, jioni unavaa suti, unasema unafanya kazi kwa ofisi ya governor.
With Kenya expected to experience an El Nino season in the October to December short rain season in some parts of the country, the rainfall is expected to continue until January 2024. The last time Kenya experienced such conditions was in 2006, and the worst El Nino season occurred in 1997. The Kenya Meteorological Department indicates that the above-average rainfall will be caused by the Indian Ocean dipole, which is defined by the difference in sea surface temperatures between two areas.
Or average. During the October, November, December 2023, it is expected that most parts of the country will experience enhanced, that is above average rainfall that will be fairly distributed in some parts of the country and well distributed in others, both in time and...
However, some parts of the country are likely to experience landslides and flooding. If not properly managed, this could result in the loss of life. Education could also be affected in certain areas, as schools could flood and learning materials may be destroyed. Victor Enzobele for EBN TV.
Now, the government has today signed a collective bargaining agreement, CBA, with the Union of Civil Servants. The agreement signed in Nairobi will cover the period between 2021 to 2025. The Public Service Principal Secretary Amos Gachera says the government will soon unveil the framework to standardize and guide the framework of CBA negotiations to end the fragmented talks that have led to disparities and disharmonies and inconsistencies in the remunerations of the benefit structure in the public service.
Has a budget of 1,126,486,162, which will be effective from 1st of July 2020-2024, which translates to about 7% of the salary increase for civil servants across the board. It is also noted that SRC has approved review of house allowance on a budget of 115,071,472 in the first phase, and 223,694,412 in the second phase.
Now let's cross over to Kakamega County, where the UDA party leaders have applauded President William Ruto's decision to announce the party's grassroots elections at the end of this year and urged members of the ruling party to prepare and choose leaders with good records who will build the party. Led by Desmond Shinaka and Margaret Muka, they say that the election is expected to be free and fair. In addition, they have asked the Luhya community to support the government of William Ruto to benefit the current and future leadership. The leaders emphasized that the Western region should cooperate with their leaders in the government for their development.
Tangu tukue na hii chama ya UDA hatujakuwa na viongozi, lakini tunashukuru His Excellency the President kwa kutoa ile maneno kusema kwamba tutakuwa na elections. Na mimi naomba tu watu wote hii Kenya, tunajua sometimes it may not be fair, but I'm only praying that we have fair elections, ndio tujue nani ana hold office gani, kutoka wapi na kwenda wapi na kufanya kazi gani.
Na hiyo election itafanywa Disemba mwaka huu. Tulienda kwa uchaguzi, hatukuwa na viongozi. Wale ambao wanataka kuwa viongozi katika chama cha UDA, hii ndio wakati sasa ya kuanza kuchipanga. Na hakuna mambo ya kusema ati watakuwa wanaandika list, hapana. Hiyo polling station yako uchipange kule, tutafanya uchaguzi kama chama next week, tutakuwa tumetoa ratiba, tuanze kupanga bila hiyo election itafanywa. So itakuwa free and fair. Na Waluhya katika chama cha UDA ambayo mimi niko ndani kwa headquarters, Secretary General wa chama cha UDA anaitwa Cleophas Malala, mtoto wa Kakamega County ambaye ni Mluhya. Chief Whip wa serikali wa Senate anaitwa Mheshimiwa Boni Khalwale, mtoto wenu ambaye mnajua hapa Ikolomani. Si ni kweli?
Ya cut between viongozi wazee na vijana. Lazima na hii ujumbe ifikie viongozi wote wa Western. Sisi vijana we want to work, kufanya kazi na wale wazee. Na wazee nao ni kama wataki kufanya kazi na vijana.
Well, a section of legislators from Orange Democratic Movement have moved to court to contest the expulsion from the party. Speaking at a church service in Migori County, Suba South legislator Carol Omondi argued that he was exercising the will of his electorate by meeting the president in order to lobby for development. His Uriri counterpart, Mark Nyamita, accused the party's disciplinary committee of bias, claiming that the National Executive Council recommendation to X them from the party was selfish and it was a move to mask the politics of succession. On his part, National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula has called on party leaders to allow their members serve the electorate and shelve what he said were selfish interests.
Makosa nimefanya to go and lobby for super people to get a road, and we must speak the truth. And I must also emphasize here, if we go to court, we are going to win. I am a lawyer, I am telling you this. We are going to win. Let me tell you why. There was no tribunal that tried us. Are we together? That is why I'm saying this thing is going to embarrass the party. The chairman anyway is on record having declared interest in the seat of Karoli. So when he sits to judge him, I mean, what really do you expect?
If it is good for the party leader of a certain party to go to Mombasa and sit with President Ruto and talk about Kenya, it must be equally good for Nyamita to go and see the president and talk about Uriri. What is good for the goose is good for the gander. Kwa hivyo mimi naomba tu, wewe ulichaguliwa kuongoza watu ya Uriri. Wewe wakilisha wao, fungua kila mlango.
Now, all national government administration offices must have publicly displayed service charters that clearly outline the services provided, the cost of accessing such services, and the duration within which a citizen shall be served. This is according to the new zero tolerance to corruption policy that has been sent out to public offices. The policy also outlines that services to be paid for shall be clearly outlined and payable electronically. All national government administration offices have been directed to deliver services efficiently and will be subjected to performance contracts.
We have decided to implement the government policy on zero tolerance on corruption. Therefore, no member of the public service, no officer is supposed to demand bribes from members of the public to offer services that are supposed to be offered free of charge. Tumesema hivi, lazima tutekeleze agizo na sera ya serikali hii ya kuhakikisha kwamba hakuna maneno ya rushwa katika ofisi za serikali. Hakuna ofisa wote wa umma ako na ruhusa kuitisha ongo ili apatiane huduma ambaye inatakikana kupatianwa bure. And in case a certain service requires the payment of statutory charges and fees which are gazetted, then the service charter must provide the services where government fees are applicable. And as you are aware, the government has directed there will be no payment of government fees in cash again. All payments must be done electronically so that to ensure that we do not have a corrupt environment. Mmeona katika hii mwezi nimekwama pale mahali kunaitwa Nyayo House. Si mmeona hapo? Hapo watu walikuwa wameumizwa kwa siku mingi wakitafuta vyeti vya kusafiri ng'ambo. Wengine wako na watu wagonjwa ambao wangetaka kuwapeleka ng'ambo kupata matibabu. Wengine wako na watoto ambao wamepata nafasi ya kusoma kule nchi za ng'ambo. Wengine wangetaka kwenda biashara. Na kwa muda mrefu kumekuwa na ukora, utapeli na wizi na kunyanyasa wananchi pale na mambo ya hongo. Na pale tumesema wale watu wote ambao walikuwa pale Nyayo House wanatesa wananchi, tumewaondoa pale. Wengine tumewashika, tumewapeleka mahakamani.
Hundreds of faithfuls at the St. Mark's Church in Westlands benefited from a free cancer screening drive after church service on Sunday. The Beth Mugo Cancer Foundation organized free screening for breast, cervical and prostate cancers. Speaking at the screening exercise, former nominated Senator Beth Mugo underscored the importance of screening, saying it can help detect cancer at an early stage, making it easier to treat or to cure.
Screening is the most important thing for prevention for cancer. And of course, there's better prevention than cure. And we have chosen also to go to churches. We have been in different counties in the past, and we have chosen also to do in churches, to go where the people are.
Because you find that people will not go to hospitals for screening. But when this screening comes to the people will be able to be screened. You can see they have been coming here freely.
So our target today is to provide treatment through screening and minor treatment to nearly 400 people. And so far, over 100 people have already been seen. We also target to get maybe 50 pints of blood by the end of today. And we think by doing that, we will have given back to what God has given us.
Sugarcane farmers in the Sony factory in Awendo constituency, Migori County, finally have a reason to smile after the central government initiated a plan to clear the company's debts and pay the farmers. Speaking in the Uriri constituency, Migori County, Ugenya Member of Parliament David Ochieng and Uriri MP Mark Nyamita say that if the bill for changes in the sugar sector is approved in Parliament this coming Friday, the company will be relieved of its debt of 7.2 billion shillings. The legislator says that this is a step that will enable the production of more sugar and give farmers more income.
Serikali kileta pesa hapa bilioni moja, kila mtu ambiwe hiyo bilioni moja share yake ni ngapi kwa nucleus. That's what we want. So that these farmers to own the sugar factory so that it doesn't fall down. On Thursday this week, you've been told, we'll be in Parliament to pass the sugar bill, and we want to tell KRA and whoever runs it that the sugar debts will be waived this coming week, whether they like it or not.
And we are very clear, the things that the President promised us, which is just about 3-4 months ago, about 60 to 70% of them are done. And one of the biggest one is the waiver of the debt for Sony Sugar, which is 7.2 billion. And on Thursday, we're in Parliament to pass that thing. Our farmers who are owed about 800 and something million.
Residents and the young people in Kwale County have been encouraged to join technical institutions that offer technical courses that take a short time to become self-employed later. Speaking during the graduation of the 500 graduates of the Marianist Technical Institute in Kwale, the Bishop of the Catholic Church of the Diocese of Malindi, Wilbard Lago, said technical courses promote creativity in students and enable them to solve many challenges in the society.
When you go to the dictionary and you look for the definition of the word engineer, it does not talk about somebody with a degree. It talks about somebody who can design, who can manage, and who can maintain either an engine or a structure or a system. And that's why I like calling our graduates engineers. There's no difference between you and any engineer in this world.
Na zaidi tunafurahia wenyeji, zile tunaziita jamii, vile ambavyo wameweza kupokea jambo hili la kuwapa vijana ujuzi. Na hii inatuambia kitu katika jamii. Kulingana na wito wa Mheshimiwa Rais ambao unaendelea saa hii, kwamba technical issues, mambo ya ujuzi ya kutumia mikono, ndio kitu ambacho kitasongeza mbele nchi.
Graduate is just a beginning, it's not the end. And we hope that this is an opportunity for you to go out and test out what you have learned. And I hope you'll be able to realize that you need more.
Kenya is on the run to achieve an ambitious goal of ending AIDS in children by 2027. Over a long time, the country has faced a devastating and catastrophic impact of the HIV epidemic. However, remarkable resilience in the face of this scourge has equally been seen, especially in the counties of Homa Bay, Siaya, Kisumu, Migori, and Nyamira, to almost a point of eliminating mother-to-child transmissions of HIV.
I lost my mom at 8 years, so 5 years later, I'm here and you're telling me that I'm positive. It was, that is the moment I felt that the world can be very untrustworthy. But through the care, wakaniongelesha, nikapelekwa clinic, nikaanzishwa CCC, and I started taking my medication. So what we are trying to say is, right now we are all here and we are saying that we want to end AIDS in children.
And when treatment came, it was only for adults and not for children. So when I went to take my own, they told me my health was still better, they could give me. We had to pay someone who was very sick to take treatment, atupatie hiyo ya watu wakubwa, tuvunjie watoto wetu. Mothers will do anything for their children to live.
Globally, we are supposed to be ending HIV AIDS in children by 2030. But as a country, as Kenya, wajua mimi ni chap-chap, tunatembea haraka. As a country, we have committed to 2027. So whatever it takes for us to do, we are going to do it. And that is why you people are very important. Because you are the ones who will go to the community and get people out and tell them about healthy living.
We are having many children infected with HIV, over 4,000 every year, which is really too big a number, really, if you think about it. And we know that mortality rate or death rate is very high among those.
The new WHO guidance on how we can better the HIV testing in the country. And so together with the plan, we will also be launching the plan, the 3-test algorithm, which is a guidance on how we can better our testing approaches, our testing for people so that we can fast track our progress in HIV response.
This week, we got the commitment of the Parliament, National Parliament, to form a pediatric parliamentary caucus so that at that level they are going to really advocate for our children. And even at this point, I'm even appealing even to the highest level, highest office in the land, that also the presidency or the president really to also come in and also support this initiative. We know that he is very keen on health, the UHC agenda, and now is also the time that he came in and also helped us really to ensure that we eliminate or we end infection or we end AIDS in children by 2027.
Now, beyond our borders, rescuers are racing the clock to find survivors in the rubble more than 48 hours after Morocco's deadliest earthquake in more than 6 decades. Some 2,497 people were killed in a disaster that devastated villages in the high Atlas Mountains. Aftershocks will continue to rock Morocco weeks or months, a seismological expert has warned. Some villagers are saying they are struggling to find enough space to bury their dead, as funerals can take place beside rescue work. Others are preparing extra graves ready for more bodies even as rescue operations continue. Bells tolled at Ground Zero and solemn tributes unfolded around the country as Americans looked back Monday on the horror and legacy of the 9/11 attack. People gathered at memorials, firehouses, city halls, campuses, and elsewhere to observe the 22nd anniversary of the deadliest terror attack on the United States soil. Nearly 3,000 people were killed when hijacked planes crashed at New York's World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and Shanksville, Pennsylvania, and the attack reshaped American foreign policy and domestic fears. In the world of sports, Kenya's Beatrice Chepkoech smashed the women's 2,000-meter steeplechase world best at the Memorial Boris Handzekovic Continental Tour Gold meeting held last night in Zagreb, Croatia. Chepkoech clocked 5 minutes 47.42 seconds to lower the previous record of 5 minutes 52.8 set by Gesa Kraus of Germany in 2019. Another Kenyan, Winnie Jemutai, finished second in 5 minutes 52.92 seconds, with Marusa Zrimek of Slovakia placing third in a national record of 5 minutes 53.38 seconds. Meanwhile, Ferdinand Omanyala returned to winning ways after clocking 9.94 seconds to triumph in the men's 100-meter ahead of Oblique Seville of Jamaica, who finished second in 10.07 seconds, while Olympic champion Marcel Jacobs of Italy placed third in 10.08 seconds.
And she's got around about 20 seconds to go and 90 meters to go. This is going to be a new world best performance for Beatrice Chepkoech over 2,000 meter steeplechase. Can she obliterate it? Can she make it hard for anyone to beat it? Well, it is 5 minutes 40
away first time, but they're running very, very close at the moment. Ferdinand Omanyala looking for a little bit more here in the closing stages, and the Kenyan athlete gets it. 9:95 on the clock. That was wonderful from Ferdinand Omanyala.
Well, back home, Harambee Starlets have started preparations for their upcoming two-legged 2024 Women African Cup of Nations qualifier against Cameroon. 16 players have so far checked into camp, with the rest of the squad expected to join them later in the week. The team is set to depart for Cameroon on September 20th ahead of their first leg match set to be played on September 22nd in Yaoundé. Starlets will fly back home on September 23rd in time for their second leg match 3 days later. Should Harambee Starlets be the aggregate winners of the two-legged qualifier, they will face either Gabon or Botswana in the second round between November 27th and December 5th. Victory for Kenya in the second round will secure automatic qualifications for the prestigious 2024 Women African Cup of Nations in Morocco, a tournament Kenya last played in 2016 in what was their debut. Now to their counterparts, Harambee Stars. South Sudan striker Tito Okello says they want to correct their mistakes in the loss to Mali when they face Harambee Stars on Tuesday in an international friendly match primed for the Kasarani Stadium in Nairobi. The Bright Stars lost 4-0 to Mali in AFCON qualifiers, and Tito says they are keen to bounce back to winning ways as they build their younger squad. Meanwhile, the host Harambee Stars will also train at the match venue from 6 p.m, aiming to sharpen their edges before they entertain their guests. The Indian Firat coach side are brimming with confidence after nailing a crucial 2-1 win over Qatar in Doha last week. The match will kick off at 4 p.m. at the Kasarani Stadium on Tuesday. So now the question I should be asking you is, will you be at the Kasarani Stadium from 4 p.m. tomorrow to watch Harambee Stars play at home for the first time in such a long time? Well, I will be there because we need to support our very own. So for the Harambee Stars, we'd love to wish them all the best as they face Bright Stars of South Sudan tomorrow from 4 p.m. at the Kasarani Stadium for the international friendly, because it's still the international break before they can now resume back to their teams or club teams in various leagues across the world. But that is where we want to wrap it up tonight. Thank you for keeping me company. Do join Sami Adika tomorrow morning from 7 a.m. We'll be having an engaging conversation that you definitely do not want to miss on agri-business. Well, see him then tomorrow. But for now, I'm Cynthia Nanjana. Good night.